Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video, and this is a paid request for Durst Momsen for Life. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, whether it be a topic, reaction, commentary, review, re-review, video game playthrough for an hour, or full playthrough, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it. I'll get to it as soon as I can, and for those who sent them, thank you. I really do appreciate it, so really do. Thank you so much. I'll try to get it out to you as soon as I can. That's why I'm trying to pump these videos out. This is the least I could do for the generosity you guys are sending out there, so thank you. So this is Four Horsemen from 2009. Some places say 2008. I'm just going to put 2009 just because. I mean, it's a film that most people are not going to know what the hell it is. I mean, when the film came out, it did absolutely nothing. It made like $2 million, if that. It's directed by a guy named Jonas Åkerlund, which I think I've seen one of his films. I think it was called Polar with Matt Mikkelsen, I think. But he was mostly known for doing music videos. Jonas Åkerlund. He did music videos for... Let me double check. Beyonce, Queens of the Stone Age, Christina Aguilera, Blondie, Duran Duran, Metallica, Moby, Ozzy Osbourne, U2, Robbie Williams, The Rolling Stones, Britney Spears. A lot of music videos. I just he did the Madonna song Ray of Light, which won a Grammy for Best Short Form Music Video. The other films he directed were Spun, Small Apartments, and Lord of Chaos. Polar seems to be the last film he directed. He's from Sweden, he's Swedish. Now, Horseman stars Dennis Quaid. I'm a huge Dennis Quaid fan. Loved him in films like Inner Space, Frequency. Liked him in The Substance that came out this year. So I love Jaws 3. The reason I love Jaws 3, one of them, is because of Dennis Quaid starring in it. It's not the only reason, but it is a big reason. So it doesn't mean I love every film he's in, but I liked Quaid quite a bit. What was it? Vantage Point. It's another one I enjoy with him in it. Pandorum. Another one I enjoy. This one I don't enjoy as much. Now, it's not as bad as I remember it being, because I've seen this film once before. I think what it is, though, is very much trying to be in the style of Seven and those type of movies, where it's a cop following this very gritty, bloody case where these murders are occurring that have to deal with the biblical sense. Just like Seven, the Seven Deadly Sins, here is the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Granted, I do think Seven is better. Hell, I think Resurrection with Christopher Lambert, or as some people pronounce it, Christophe Lambert, where it was the killer killing people and taking their body parts because he wants to recreate the body of Jesus Christ. Like those, either they just, I felt a bit more, I thought, however they ended, one a bit more positive than the other, but they felt like the endings had a either big punch that you could really feel, like in Seven, or I thought it was a bit more of a satisfying follow through, like in Resurrection. This is kind of your basic movie, but at the same time, I think the initial setup is intriguing enough where Dennis Quaid, he's called in because he's a dental forensic, because it's the middle of the snowy field, there's a tray, and under it there's a bunch of teeth. So Quaid is called in, looks into it, And then they find this series of murders happening where people are suspended on hooks and they die a certain way, and these words called "come and see." Was it "come and see"? Yeah. "Come and see" is put at times in 4 places. Looked into that, among other stuff. They come to find out it deals with the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. And then, okay, interesting. The whole hanging of the hooks. There are people that do that for fun. There are people that do that for pleasure. Asking tattoo parlors and things of that nature what this may pertain to and who could be into this stuff. Seems like it's multiple killers, not just one killer. It's technically 4 killers. And like, this whole stuff I'm talking about seems kind of interesting, or possibly interesting. And the aftermath, there's some grisly bits of gore in the aftermath. One reveal dealing with a baddie in particular is pretty like, oh shit, kind of moment, which I'll get to that later. And you have the typical Dennis Quaid, the cop who his wife has died, so he doesn't keep in touch with his kids. He keeps breaking his promises. Now, he's not trying to be a dick, but like, when he's got to go to work, he leaves like $20. He doesn't fulfill his promises. Like, hey, let's go to the Red Wings game. He can't go. Workaholic father, but also he can't deal with the death of his wife from years ago, and so it's not that he's being mean, rude, hitting his kids or anything. It's just that it's neglect. But I thought Dennis Quaid did a really good job. I think he's definitely one of the high points of the film, where I thought the scenes with his kids were sweet, in terms of you get the gist of it, but it's not done in an overly hokey, dramatic fashion where either party is going too over the top. It feels in a kind of a sad, natural state where the kids are used to it, so they're like, and once in a while they say something, but it doesn't go into after school special soap opera kind of, no, but you, even when they're talking about you weren't there for mom when she had cancer. I thought the actors worked well together, the older son and Dennis Quaid, that again doesn't come off as hokey, at least to me. Like I said, the mystery of who are the Horsemen and why are they doing that. It's not Ric Flair, it's not Arn Anderson, not that Horseman. That leaves a bit of intrigue. It does. And the cast, like Dennis Quaid, I think does a really good job. You buy kind of his haggard state of affairs as a detective. He's a very capable leading man. I like the guy who played his partner, Clifton Collins Jr. He's been in stuff. He was in Mindhunters, which I reviewed a few weeks ago. Good character actor. One I thought was very miscast was Zhang Ziyi, she got famous for Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. There's a point where she's like trying to be Hannibal Lecter, and it just was such a miscast because honestly, sometimes you can't understand what the fuck she's saying, and she's just, hey, I get it. English is not her first language. Hell, it's barely my first language. But when you're trying to sell this like intensity and this kind of mano a mano where it's supposed to be this verbal dialogue like Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins, Zhang Ziyi is not capable of that. At least to me. So I definitely thought that was a bit of a miscast for that part. And like I said, I don't think this film was as bad as I remember it, but I'm not a fan of it because at the end of the day, before getting spoilers, when you get to the end of the film, you kind of go, that's it? That's what it was leading up to? It just kind of ended like a wet fart in church. Kind of like, that's it? That's all you got, man? Really? That I mean, was such a kind of interesting bit with the horsemen and what's it leading up to, and could it be supernatural perhaps, or could it be some big plot that's going to affect? Scratch all that. No, not really. No, no. And even when I first saw it, I went, what? Because I think I did have this on DVD, and I think I got rid of it because of that. Other familiar people, Peter Stormare, he's in the film. Which, hell, if you want to see a gritty movie with him, 8mm. That's a film that I thought had a interesting story that really did a nice follow through of the story. The editing, I know some people say it's over stylized. It didn't bother me. The musical score, I didn't mind the sort of soft kind of guitar, in particular with the scenes where he's talking with his kids. Yeah, it's repeated a lot, but I liked it. I thought it was subtle. I thought it was kind of sweet, and you hear it also at the end credits. Listen, it wasn't too overbearing. It wasn't too saccharine, sweet. The DV cavities. I thought it worked, and I like the little guitar work in it. It's not overly done or anything. I thought it was subtle enough. The rest of the score I can't remember. That's the only one I can remember is the softer guitar work, but at least that's something. Oh, another familiar Eric Balfour. He was in the 2003 Chainsaw Massacre remake. He was in the film Skyline. He's in this. If you are absolutely in love with films like Seven and Resurrection and maybe even 8mm, you want to see that kind of murder mystery and you're a big Dennis Quaid fan, sure you give it a watch, but the ending may seem both predictable and disappointing as well. So, again, the spoilers now. Like I said, Quaid is going to these investigations. There's people hung by hooks. The first victim is this woman who is the wife of Peter Stormare. Quaid tossed to the adopted daughter, played by Ziyi. It also cuts into his home life, which again he keeps making promises to his kids, but leaving $20 to he gotta go to work. One thing leads to another. He's talking with Ziyi, and he's trying to comfort her, and they're walking outside, and she's like, I didn't know. Didn't know what? She had this in her. And she pulls out a baddie, I guess what, in her fucking coat or something? Out of her ass? That'd be funny if she did this, like, all of a sudden she's like, just pulls out of her shirt, like you see in the shot or something. Is that like between your tits? She pulls out a baddie with a little fetus in it. Because apparently the victim, her adopted, her mother, stepmother, how do you want to put her? She was pregnant. I guess Ziyi, I didn't know it, but she kept the fetus in a baddie and gave it to fucking Quaid. Which I don't blame him later, just going to the bathroom and just putting his head in the sink and stuff. So I do like Quaid's reaction. I do like his acting. And of course, they arrest her. She's in jail for the rest of it. And again, she tries to be Hannibal Lecter. not really giving him clues, but kind of egging him on. It just miscasting. She doesn't work. But it was a crazy reveal. I'll give it that. Eventually, they looked into her life with Peter Stormare and his wife, and they find these pictures and videos. Get the idea that Peter Stormare was having sex with Ziyi, abusing her, all this stuff. And so that's why Ziyi did this as a form of revenge. Because you did this to me and your wife let it happen, did nothing to stop him from you abusing me. A few other victims are found, and again, this is heavy spoilers. One victim, they're confused because there's no hooks in him. They come to find out that's actually one of the Four Horsemen. It's just that I think the idea is they killed an innocent, which they weren't supposed to, so he was punished. And then, God, I'm trying to remember. Oh, because this, if I did what they're trying to do, but at times it kind of felt like out of place in a weird way. But I guess in the scheme of things, I guess not. We go to this guy. I can't remember the actor's name. He plays a guy named Corey. I mean, fuck, God, Corey. Not enough Corys. Like Corey Cunningham from fucking Halloween Ends. Who the fuck is Corey? The thing with Corey, he's a guy who's gay. He wants to talk to his brother, Taylor, played by Eric Balfour, who's straight. They get in an argument because he's like, I don't want a gay brother, and blah, 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 blah. Stop crying, don't cry. So eventually, Corey drugs his brother. There's a thief trying to accost him. He stabs the guy, but says, hey, don't worry, you're not going to die. I didn't stab you in a vital part. But he's able to contact... That guy's able to contact the cops and get a sketch artist. Meanwhile, the brother's taking his brother to this place in the middle, like this warehouse or whatever. Ties Eric Balfour up in these hooks. The idea is that Corey's going to sit down and says, I wish you had listened to me. I wish we could have been brothers. I wish we could have done this. And tries to cut his own heart out. Now, you don't see a whole lot. You see the saw, a bit of blood, and then the aftermath, you see Eric Balfour's reaction, where he's stunned and he's upset, but at the same time, it's like, he's I'm not, the word that rhymes with bag, or rag, but with an F. He's a So, even then, he still hates his brother, or, I don't know. And so that's when Dennis Quaid gets with his partner and they'll look at the pictures and they go, well, wait a minute. Yeah, this guy wasn't a victim. He was part of the four. So we've had 3 deaths. We've had I guess technically the innocent person. Or Pestilence himself. The one who I guess they killed. I wish we could. I mean, Ziyi tells a bit of that guy, but I still kind of wish, since he's one of the 4, we could have had a bit more story or development or something to the guy. Just, oh yeah, it just a lot of this movie is we're being told stuff and exposition. Ziyi has to tell us, or Dennis Quaid has to tell us, so that we don't get too confused. Anyway, long story short, Quaid is trying to find the leader who's going to have the 4th victim. The leader who's death. And I think when I first saw this, I kind of predicted this. when you're so many times having your kid be left behind and all these conversations, don't get better, it's going to get better, it's going to get better, I promise. Just something about it where it's like, okay, there's something to this where we never see. I did, like most mysteries, we don't see the face of the killer, but it's like, okay, either there's going to be a great reveal of, oh, they got that actor, or, oh, wow, okay, so that's how the person looks like. Or it's a person we have seen, and you're supposed to be, oh, wow, it's that guy? I don't know, when you watch enough films, this kind of enters your brain. And lo and behold, the leader of the four is his older son. Because he didn't go to his son's room in 3 years. Even the kid brings it up later. You didn't go in my room for 3 years. He goes in a room and the room's painted all white. Which I'm trying to remember why the fuck he was painted all white. Maybe he just likes the color white. I don't know. One of he paints his pants white. And he's supposed to go to this theater, or this stage where I guess they went as a family long ago. He gets there, he gets drugged. Now, you would think follow through with the plan, they'd be putting fish hooks too. Does everybody else put in hooks? But I guess maybe Quaid's like, fuck that, I'm not going to be in hooks. Because every other person is like, they put in the hooks. Eric Balfour was put in the hooks. He wasn't killed, but here, no, Quaid is just handcuffed to the chair. And you think, well, wait a minute, with this whole, the follow through, wouldn't he be in meat hooks and he can't do anything? Guess not. I just need to argue he has no one there to help him, and the meat hook thing probably be at least a 2-man job, to be fair, so perhaps that's why. But you think, okay, he could be tied to the chair and then have like hooks. See, I think that's what it should have been, now that I think about it. Because what happens is, he's handcuffed to the chair. His son is in this suspension with the hooks. And says, you wouldn't go to my room for 3 years and we're going to show everybody. So it's fucking emo. Emo kids saying emo things. Boo fucking who. Okay, I get it. You wish your dad paid more attention to you. But, man, you still got Dennis Quaid as a dad, and he still seems like he does care. It's just he spends a lot of time. I just say, well, how much does he care if he doesn't go into your room for 3 years? I understand that. I'd be like, thank you, don't go in my fucking room, because it's privacy. Maybe jerked in it. Most people would love that. Most people would love that their parents don't go in their fucking room for 3 years. It's like, good. It's called privacy. But, I get it. He's whining and crying and bitching about it. And I'm like, well, I mean, Quaid, he's not perfect, his character. But I've seen much fucking worse people. But he's good acting performance by Dennis Quaid. He's trying, he's begging, and when he's trying to get the cuffs off and he's kicked in the chair, he's going all out. He's not sleepwalking. That's the thing I would say the entire movie, I don't think he's sleepwalking. Like I say, Quaid is doing what he can. But that's the thing, is that really, I'll get back to my point. Dennis Quaid doesn't really, when I say he doesn't do a whole lot, he's pretty ineffective in terms of as a detective. Not really anything he does causes anything different of the ilk. Meaning, he's always 2 steps behind. Even Ziyi brings it up. You didn't catch me, I went up to you. They didn't catch the one guy, Corey. It's just they found him after he's already done the deed and killed himself. The horsemen took care of the other, the pestilence. I mean, Quaid eventually figured out that, oh, it has something to do with. They all have the doctor his son has. But even then, it's like the kid knocked him out and tied him. The only thing, he didn't really accomplish anything. He didn't really get to do. I don't know how else to put it. He's just led along the whole way, so he becomes just an effective detective. I don't know if that made sense. I don't know. And then he tits the chair down, he gets the gun, he shoots the hooks down. The kid's alive, apologizes, says no matter what happens, you're gonna be all right. I'm not gonna leave you no matter what happens. I think if the kid loves his dad, but he doesn't like that he neglected him, put these hooks into the dad's face, like the ear, the cheeks, all that stuff. And maybe the kid goes, Dad, just don't move. They're going to come here eventually. They're going to get you out. It'll be fine. Just don't move. I need to do this. And then Quaid starts getting his skin ripped off. And then the kid's like, no, don't do that, okay? Like, that's not what's supposed to happen. But Quaid, whether verbally says it or just by his actions, showcases that he will let himself be scarred up. He'll let himself, maybe lose a bit of an ear, lose bits of skin and blood. And maybe the kid's like, get more horrified because, well, he doesn't like that his dad neglected him, but he's also doesn't want his dad killed, and it's like, no, you don't die, and then Quaid finds this as a penance to destroy parts of his body. To finally get to the gun, he's bleeding, he's scarred up, shoots it down, they're both bleeding, and eventually cops come, whatever, and then whatever happens to the kid, but he's able to show that he's willing to bleed, that he's willing to hurt himself, he's willing to go through the pain because he loves his son that much, and maybe that kind of wakes the kid up. Like, okay, maybe I'm not that right in the head, but maybe I don't have it as awful compared to others, or some to that effect. I don't know. But I think for a lot of people, it's just like, wait, it's just his kid, and his kid's crying and bitching. Like, I get it, but I don't know, get a cat, I don't know, get a girlfriend, jerk off like most of us, I don't know, man. I think for some people, it's like, yes, his mom died, and he wishes someone was there to help him out, and even though he's seeing a therapist, and he wishes his dad was around, and I do get that, to a point, I do. But with the extreme bit of business of the Horsemen, it's just, you still think you're going, really? That's it? Like, I keep thinking, like, that's it? I don't know how else the fucking word is, like, it just felt a lot more could have been done with the Horseman motif, and or even the way the people were killed. Like the 7 Deadly Sins and 7. Like each death scene seemed very unique with how the body was. Whether they're emaciated and just complete skin and bones. Or they're overweight fat. Or like just force fed. It's just such unique crime scenes that stick out. While here the crime scenes kind of just blend together. Other than the hooks. So it felt like either with a different director or a different script. Who wrote the script for this? David Callaham. What else did he do? David Callaham. Oh, he co-wrote Doom. I actually like Doom. He co-wrote the first Expendables with Stallone. But more likely Stallone probably rewrote the whole script. Zombieland Double Tap. Oh, shit. Well, this says a lot. He co-wrote Wonder Woman 1984. He co-wrote that piece of shit Mortal Kombat 2021. He co-wrote Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Cock Rings. To be fair, he was one of the co-writers of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which I liked. But that was also written by Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, which I'm sure they did more of the work. So I don't know. Again, maybe with a better script and more satisfying and powerful ending, Quaid have a bit more effect as a detective within the story. Then, Zhang Ziyi being recast, her part being recast. I think there's something there. I think Dennis Quaid does what he can. There's some decent makeup effects with some of the aftermath shots, but it's nothing. You've seen worse than a dozen, well, there's been 10, Saw films. And maybe also, maybe people would think there'd be like a Saw movie. It's not at all. Yeah, Horseman is one of those movies that I think could have been a lot better. Missed opportunity. Not the worst thing I've seen, to be fair. But, yeah, missed opportunity. So with that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.